Everybody, Ennis here with Whiteacre Properties. One more episode of this fix and flip type of properties, but we got something really cool, really different today. So follow me around. We are in Dorchester on Oaker Street, a single family home that has been vacant for I think for about 8 years now. We owned it for the last 2 years. So that's the interesting part. Let me show you around, and we're gonna talk about the exit strategy, what we're doing with this property and how we are selling it. So we're gonna go over numbers and things like that. So let's go. All right, so it's a really nice property. It's turnkey. Let's take a look. The door, it's down. We had to board up this place because obviously people were breaking in. We didn't want any squatters in here. So the first floor is dark, but we're gonna go upstairs and you can see the condition. It's really not much to see, but living room, dining room, and a kitchen right here, for whatever you guys can see. I mean, this is a full gut. There's nothing good about this place. All right, let's go upstairs just to pique our curiosity. Let's take a look. All right. Look at that bathroom. Oh man. So, bedroom. Again, it's a full gut. There's nothing that we can keep. This one is another big bedroom. It got nice high ceiling, but other than that, seriously, everything has to go. All right. One more bedroom. You get the idea. All right, let's go take a look at the attic space and get out of here. So, that's the attic space that we're using this as bedrooms. If we had to gut this place and renovate it, probably we would, finish this space and make it extra bedrooms because there is value in that, but we are not doing that. This property is going to be demolished, and that's the reason I wanted to have this video and show you guys what the exit strategy is, because we're not keeping it. We owned it for 2 years now. We bought it October 16, 2018, and it's October 2020 right now. So I'm gonna go into why we're doing that. Are we making more money that way compared to if we renovated this house? So let's go downstairs, let's go to the whiteboard and talk numbers, all right? Follow me. All right, so guys, we're back in the office. It just got too loud on the street, so we're back in the office. Let's go over some numbers and exit strategy. So you looked at the property, you looked at the inside, you looked at the outside. First thing I want to share is that we bought this in 2018, October. So right away, we got a great deal on this property. We bought it for $150,000. And the reason why we got this single family home in Dorchester and the adjacent lot for $150,000 total is because we solved some really major problems for the seller. And the problems that we solved are: 1, probate; 2, short sale; and 3, the fraudulent deed. And I'll explain briefly every single one of them. So that was a property the seller inherited. Her mother passed away. She was living in this house for a while, and then she moved to another property, and the house was sitting vacant. So she was the person on the will. However, she had never actually hired a probate attorney to get a probate done and completed in order for her to sell the property, right? She just didn't have the money to do that. That's one problem we solved because we told her we are going to pay for the probate attorney. So that's how we added value to her. We agreed on price and said one of the things that we're going to do for you is connect you with a probate attorney. They can do their work, we'll pay for it, right? So that needed to be done, because it doesn't matter if you are on the will or not. If you are not on the deed, you cannot sell the property. You have to probate the will in order to sell this property. So that's what happened there. We added value by paying for the probate fee. And we did it, it's a risk we took because we didn't know if this was going to go to the finish line or not. We loved the property, we wanted to help the seller, the price was great, so we took a risk. That's one. Short sale. Her mom had taken on I believe it was like a $400,000 mortgage, right? She stopped paying, she got sick, she passed away. Her family was living in the house, no one was making payments. So now you got this property that's deteriorating. It's not being fixed up, and people stop paying the mortgage. So the property fell into foreclosure. And we said, you know what, don't worry about it. I understand you owe a lot more. Our offer was somewhere in the range of 150 to 200,000. We can solve that problem by doing a short sale. We're probably going to go more into what a short sale means and how to do it effectively. But basically, the bank has to take a loss on the mortgage that they have. So instead of 400, they ended up accepting our offer of $150,000. And this can be another video in itself. So maybe just look for that video later on. Just keep in mind that we were able to execute on that and offer that service to the seller, right? Connected them with a short sale mitigator, that they got to work on it, connected with the bank, took our offer and got it approved. That was huge because the seller gave up on it. They said, this property is it's not worth the mortgage amount and it's falling apart and I can't afford to pay the mortgage, so I'm just going to forget about it. And we said, no, you don't have to do that. You can still sell it through a short sale. That's number two. Number three, and this was the struggle and something I had never done before, right? But just went through the process and learned a ton from it, is a fraudulent deed. At some point, right after her mom passed, another investor approached this lady, the seller, and offered her $10,000 for her to sign on the deed. She was at a really low point at that moment. I think she signed on that deed. He didn't even pay the $10,000 to her, and he didn't pay the existing mortgage. Remember, we talked about $400,000. He just signed the deed, recorded it at the registry, and pretended to own the house. Now that's a problem because you got something on title, and it looks like another person owns this property that he paid $10,000 to. Totally fraud. That is crazy. That person went to jail, by the way, because he did this to other people. So finally they caught up with him. Anyhow, in order for this person, the lady I'm working with, to sell to us, she had to fight this fraudulent charge and hire a litigation attorney, right? So imagine like how crazy this deal is. We hired a litigation attorney. We paid for that fee. However, was the seller's attorney. They worked together, sued the other guy. He didn't show up in court. Anyhow, she's back to owning the property after I think 8 months. So what we did, this took 8 months, and this took about 6 to 8 months, I believe. So the timing was good because we did this at the same time, simultaneously. We took huge risk in paying for a probate attorney and paying for a litigation attorney before owning the property. Yes, we did have an executed purchase and sale agreement, but we didn't know the outcome of this case, right? So we took a risk. I think between these two attorneys, we paid about $15,000. So once everything was said and done, ended up buying the property for $150,000 plus, like I said, about $15,000 in legal fees. So right off the bat, this property was worth, I think, around $300,000. And you're gonna wonder why the bank took a loss. Again, I'm gonna do a video explaining that and how we got away with it. But we got a smoking deal by solving these three big problems. Everybody else that could have gone on that seller appointment, if they are not familiar with this or if they could solve these problems, they wouldn't get the deal, right? Doesn't matter if you offer 2, 3, or 400,000, you still have to solve all these issues. So that's one thing. Look for ways to add value on every single seller appointment, and you're gonna get a great deal. All right, so we closed on it. This was 2018, right? We bought it. What do we do next? With every lead that we get, we're thinking, all right, is this a flip? Is this a wholesale? Is this a wholesale? Are we gonna rent? Are we gonna fix, rent it out, refinance, right? Are we doing the BRRRR strategy? What are we doing? For every property in Boston, then there is also another exit strategy, which is rezoning the property. What that means is that if you buy this single family home, but you got a large lot size, maybe you should go and propose to do a 2-family or 3-family or 4-family, right? If that's what's around you, right? If the highest and best use of that lot is actually multifamily, go for it, right? If you see other people building or doing condos, maybe that's the highest and best use of that area or of the lot. So that's what we decided to do here. Because we bought it cheap, We could have flipped it and made a decent profit. However, because we had two lots, right, the one where the single family is and then the lot next door which is vacant, we said, why not rezone it? Why don't we push, you know, the limits here a little bit? We got it for a good deal. We don't mind waiting. The rezoning took 2 years. And, you know, typically it should take about a year, you know, from talking to other developers and other guys that are doing this. It took us 2 years because we did something wrong, and we actually proposed a bigger building. I think we started with 12 units, and it's only between number 3 and number 5, I think total is 7,500 square feet. So yes, you can fit a 12-unit building, but everybody around you, it's in that street was a 2-family or a maximum of 3-family. So it just didn't pencil in. It didn't look good on that street, and the neighbors hated it. So we started with 12. I think we dropped down to 8, and then we dropped down to 6. And that's what we got approved for. And that's what we should have done from day one, right? So lesson learned is look at what's around you, what's going to look good on that street, and what, you know, because you're going to go in front of a neighborhood meeting, and we're going to talk really quick about the process, but you're going to talk to neighbors. You just got to explain that they are comfortable with the building they're going to see on the street, right? So keep that in mind, because otherwise you're wasting time. We wasted about a year on this property. All right, cool. So rezoning process. Let's go really quick about the steps. Once we own the property, next thing what we did is hire a zoning attorney, got his opinion about what we can put on these 2 lots. He said somewhere between 6 and 12 units, right? And we proposed 12, like I said, and we went down. Anyhow, that's hire number 1. Then you hire an architect. Then you got to hire a surveyor, right? Surveyor actually goes first, gives you the plot plan, gives you all the details that an architect needs. Architect takes that, creates the plans for, you know, the number of units that you as a developer and the attorney propose, right? So he goes to work on that. Attorney takes everything that was presented to him from the architect and files the building permit. He files with the building department on my behalf as the developer. And he files, but he gets a rejection letter right away, because this is not a by right project. Very few projects in Boston are by right. I think you could probably put a single family there by right, but that didn't add much value to us. So he gets a rejection letter like 30 or 45 days later, and he's going to then take that and start a neighborhood meeting with the neighborhood association. So every area in Boston, you got this different neighborhood meetings, and that's where a developer and their attorney go and present the plans. And that's what we did. I think we had like 4 or 5 neighborhood meetings with our abutters, right, and proposed this, and we got shut down once, twice, 3, 4 times. They wanted smaller buildings, they wanted more parking, which is common, and finally they agreed to 6 units. So we got approved for 6 units, which that was still exciting. 6 units approval. We are in the process now where the ZBA in Boston, Zoning Board of Appeals, heard the case. They gave us the green light. However, there is a 21-day period where anybody can appeal the decision from the ZBA. So that's where we are right now. We are waiting that 21 days appealing process or appealing timeline. Yeah. So that's the whole redevelopment thing, right? Now, things could have gone wrong, right? They could have said, no, we're not going to allow you to build anything other than 2-family. Because we bought it right, and then it comes, I mean, in real estate, it's all about buying right. But it goes back to that price. We could always go back. Yes, we wasted some money, but we can always go back and flip the property, do the rehab, and just put it on the market. So that's where we're at right now. We're waiting for this 21 days appealing period to expire, and then we're going to take the ZBA letter and move on. Now, there's a couple things we can do. One is we take that ZBA approval and move on to get permits, or we can sell, you know, this 6-unit approved ZBA deal on the MLS. Because this took 2 years, we decided to actually sell the permits, and that's what we're going to do. We're waiting for now. And then right away, as soon as we get that letter signed from the ZBA, we're going to put it on the MLS. And this is what the numbers look like. So 150,000 purchase price. We got holding costs of about $35,000, 2 years. So that's why this adds up. And it's only $35,000 because we didn't take a large mortgage on it. I remember the purchase price was only $150,000, right? So $35,000 in holding cost, and then you got another $25,000 in attorney, architect, surveyor, right? So that's the cost all in. So we're about 210, right? 150 and 60,000. So that's all in for us at this point. So because it's 6 units, I think based on comps and what others are selling them for, I think it makes sense to put this on the MLS around 600,000. That's the selling price. So 600,000 on the MLS. This is what we're all in for. There is a good chunk of change there for profit. So that's how we added value to this deal, right? I wanted to show you guys what the property looks like, what we could have done with it, and talk about this unique exit strategy, because Boston, obviously it's an area where they're redeveloping. It's an area where the mayor and the city wants more units. So it makes sense if you have a single family or 2 family or even 3 family on a large lot to redevelop it, right? So that's the thought process here. I hope you're liking it. You know, like I said, please support us, share, like, subscribe, and let me know if we're doing a good job. Let me know if you like more of this type of videos. I plan on doing another one on the short sale, and we can talk more about that one. So thank you, and see you on the next one.